Okay, Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. Today we'll continue with topic 6, functional modeling. And these are our learning outcomes for today's lecture. First, you should be able to explain the user stories, identifying use cases, 2 techniques for identifying use cases, apply the user goal technique, the event decomposition technique, and also the CRUD technique. And then we will look into the use case diagram and how to draw the use case diagram. First, let's get into the user stories. What is a user story? A user story is usually one short sentence in the everyday language of the end user that states what a user does as part of his or her work. In other words, a user story describes a goal the user has when using the system. So basically, user story is being used in Agile development project. Okay, why? Because in Agile, they focus on the simplicity, value added, and user collaboration. And they document the functional requirements quickly and less formally than the traditional approach. Okay. So this is the standard template for user stories. Okay, what is the role played? I want to, what is the goal or desire? So that, the reason or benefit. So this is the standard template that usually being used for user stories. So in this figure, this is the example of the different users write their user stories. Okay, so different user might need a different requirements in the system, so they will write it as per what they want. Okay. Here are the examples of user stories. As a teller, I want to make a deposit to quickly serve more customers. As a teller, I want to balance the cash drawer to assure there were no errors. As a customer of the bank, okay, these are the example of the user stories. As a bank customer, I want to withdraw cash and feel confident the stack of cash I get is the correct amount. As a bank customer, I want to deposit a check and feel confident the deposit is recorded correctly. Okay. In this example, they use the template as a what, I want to what, without stating the benefit. Okay, as you can see here, we have the reason or the benefit. Okay, this is the suggested template, but there are times where in user stories, we will use this template as a what, I want to what, without stating the benefit. And in user story, there is acceptance criteria. So what is acceptance criteria? Feature that must be present for the user to be satisfied with the resulting implementation. And usually the acceptance criteria focus on the functionality instead of the user interface design or the non-functional requirements. So why do we need this acceptance criteria? So that the programmer analyst can use the acceptance criteria to clarify the expectation of the user and to verify the user is looking at the user story at an appropriate level of analysis. And when the user story is implemented and refined, the acceptance criteria are used for testing. Okay, this is the example of acceptance criteria. Okay, this is the user story and this is the acceptance criteria. As a teller, I want to make a deposit to quickly serve more customers. So what is the acceptance criteria for this user story? Customer lookup must be by name or by account number. Nice to display photo and signature of customer. Any check hold requirements must be indicated. Current balance and new balance must be displayed. It means that whenever this function is implemented, okay, we can verify it, okay, by using this acceptance criteria. For example, when the teller wants to make a deposit, it will display the current balance and New Balance as the acceptance criteria. And this is another example of acceptance criteria. User stories can be used in identifying the use case. Okay, what is a use case? Use case is an activity that the system performs, usually in response to a request by a user. In use case, we only define the functional requirements, so we will not define the quality and also the constraint. And other than user story, these are the two techniques that are recommended to be used when we want to identify the use case. The first one is the user goal technique, and the other one is the event decomposition technique. And when we want to name our use case, we must name each use case using verb noun. For example, register student. Or another example is manage customer. Okay, so we must use verb noun. Okay, let's look into the first technique, that is user goal technique. Okay, so this is the most common technique used in industry. Why? Because it is simple and effective, and it is possible to identify all of the potential categories of users of the system. Okay, so how to identify the user goal technique? By using user goal technique, so we can interview our stakeholder and ask them to describe the task that the computer can help them with. Okay, for example, user goal technique, we have that template. Okay, so that is the example. I need to what? Okay, so that is user goal. Okay, for example, your stakeholder said, I need to search for item, fill shopping cart, view product, comment, and ratings. Okay, so that is the example of user goal. Okay, this is the example of the user goal technique. After we have defined the user goal, then we will get the use case. Okay, for example, your potential customer told you that they want to search for item, fill shopping cart, view product ratings and comments. And marketing manager told you that they want to be able to add or update product information, add update promotion, and etc. Okay, so these are the examples of user goal technique. Okay, here are the steps to identify our use cases by using user goal technique. Okay, first we need to identify all the potential users for the system. Okay, so let's say we have identified our system consists of the stakeholder, the administrator, staff, and also let's say customer. Okay, and then classify the potential users in terms of their functional roles. Okay, so what are their function in that system? Okay, and classify potential users by organizational level. Are they the operational level, or the management level, or the executive level? And for each type of user, interview them to find a list of specific goals they will have when using the new system. Okay, what they want to achieve by using your system, our proposed system. Okay, and next, create a list of preliminary use cases. So now we have the first version of our use cases organized by type of user. And then look for duplicates with similar use cases name and resolve inconsistency. Let's say staff told you that they want to be able to update profile, and customer also told you the same. So now we have a duplicate of update profile. Okay, so we need to resolve the duplication. Okay, number 7, identify where different types of users need the same use cases. Okay, so if that update user profile, okay, if both staff and customer have the same process, and they can share the use case, then we can eliminate the other use case, okay, the other duplicates use case, okay. And lastly, review the completed list with each type of user and then with the interested stakeholders. Okay, so these are the 8 steps to identify the use cases by using the user goal technique. Okay, clear? Okay. Okay, next let's look at into event decomposition technique. Okay. This technique, more comprehensive and complete technique. Okay, we will identify the events that occur to which the system must respond, and for each event, name a use case in a verb noun that describes what the system does when the event occurs. Okay, what is the event? What is the event? Okay, what is the event? Event is something that occurs at a specific time and place and can be described and should be remembered by the system. Okay, like for example, okay, this is charge account processing system. Okay, charge account processing system. And there are several events. Okay, several events. For example, customer pays bill. Okay, so we need to identify either this event will give the impact to the system. For example, customer pays bill. Okay, so we can record a payment. Okay, so it will give the impact to the system. Okay, so we have one use case. Customer makes a charge. Okay, customer makes a charge. Okay, it gives the impact to the system. So we can have another use case. And customer change address. Okay, change address also give the impact to the system. So we can have another use case, maintain customer data. Okay, this is outside the system, external event. Okay, the internal event inside the system. For example, time to send late notice. So use case is send late notice. Okay, so these are the event and use cases. How can you identify the event and identify the use case? Okay, there are 3 types of events. First is external event, second is temporal event, and lastly is a state event. Okay, external event is event that occurs outside the system, usually initiated by, we call it as actor. Okay, let's say student make course registration, so that is external event. Why? Because student need to do it on their own. Okay, system will not automate your course registration. Okay, so there is an external agent or actor that initiate that event. Okay, so that is external event. Second is temporal event. Temporal event is an event that occurs as a result of reaching a point in time. What is the example of temporal event? For example, examination result. Okay, so usually at early of the semester, UiTM has set when the result will be out. Okay, for the students. Okay, so we have a system where, for example, contohlah semester ni tarikh keluar result exam is on 1st of September. Okay, so our system will produce the result on 1st of September. Okay, kita dah set masa tu untuk dia display. Okay, ataupun for payslip system for your UiTM staff. Okay, so payslip system ni setiap bulan, let's say 5 hari sebelum hari gaji, sistem akan generate payslip. Okay, 5 hari sebelum tarikh gaji. Let's say my salary for this month, I get it on 25th of, let's say 25th of May. Okay, so on 20th of May, the system will generate that pay slip for me. Okay, and let's say next month, my salary would be on 20th of June. Okay, so the system set 5 days before the event, it will generate my pay slip. So on the 15th of June, I will get my pay slip. Okay, so that is temporal event. Okay, clear? Okay, third, state event. State event is an event that occurs when something happens inside the system that triggers some process. Okay, for example, reorder point is reached for inventory item. Okay, so state event, what's the difference between state event and temporal event? State event, we do not have that, we call it as a fixed time. Okay, macam temporal event tadi kita dah cakap, 5 days before the salary, the system will generate payslip. But for state event, there is something that triggers that allow the system to notify. For example, inventory item. Let's say saya jual bantal. Okay, so saya ada 100 bantal. Okay, and in my inventory system, I set in the system that if my stock tinggal 20, okay, contohnya bantal saya tinggal 20 je dalam inventory, system should trigger and notify me. Okay, for example. Okay, or the system should auto reorder to the supplier, for example. Okay, so state event, there is something that trigger inside the system and something will happen after that event occurs. Okay, so that is state event. Okay. Okay, these are the example of external event. Okay, for example, customer buys product, customer want to know the details about the product, add new address, and also this is external event. Temporal event, for example, report, okay, and bills, okay, any reminders, okay, that is temporal event. Yes, temporal event, okay. For example, bills will be generated on certain date, okay, so temporal event. Okay, in using the event technique, okay, it is very important for you to identify the actual event that affects the system and event that doesn't affect the system. Okay, for example, in this diagram, okay, there are 6 events, okay, 6 events, but we need to carefully identify which event that will affect the system. Okay, for example, customer thinks about getting a new shirt. Will it impact the system? No. Why? Because customer just think, okay, about it. Okay, so it is not. It has nothing to do with the system. Okay, second event, customer drive to the mall. Does it affect the system? No. Okay, customer tries on a shirt at this mall. Does it affect the system? No. Customer goes to another mart, Walmart. Does it affect the system? No. Customer tries another shirt. There is no impact to the system. And lastly, customer buys a shirt. So this is the event that directly affects the system. Why? Because when customer buys a shirt, so the inventory will be reduced and it will generate a sales report for the system. Okay? Okay, here is another event. Okay, let's see if it has any impact to the system. First, customer requests a catalog. Okay, does it impact the system? Yes. Okay, you need to access to the catalog. Okay, to view the catalog. Customer wants to check item availability. Will it give the effect to the system? Yes. Why? Because we need to check with the database either the item is available or not. Okay. Customer place an order obviously will give the impact to the system. Customer change and cancel order will give the impact to the system. Customer want to check order status, yes, will give the impact to the system. Customer update account information, yes, and customer returns the item, yes. So all of these events have the impact to the system where we need to access to the system to process all of these events, okay? Okay, so in requirements, we assume that the technology is perfect. Okay, so in requirements level, we will not consider much on the security issue or the safety issue. Okay, we will consider that issues during the design. Okay. Okay, what are the benefits of the event decomposition techniques? Okay, so these are the benefits which you can read it later. Okay. The next part of this chapter will be continued in the next video. See you there.